It's Sunday, no different than any other day. We're working just as quick as we can, or I am. Jolene's going to be busy today, so I had to get her up here and get a video done. Jolene's got to write an article, so she's got things she's got to do. What's the article about? How the businesswoman you are? Female founder. Wow, that's cool. She's going to be in a magazine. She's got to write her own article. I got to leave her alone. And what I'm going to do, though, is show you first. And she's going to do that, put that on YouTube also. So as I'm doing this fender skirt, I filled it out. You watched me flood it. I fiberglassed the welds. I flooded it with body fill, the whole thing. I did not sand it until I had it all flooded. I've sanded it all off, and this is what I have. I have fiberglass showing, I have metal showing, I have metal showing, I have metal showing, I have fiberglass showing. What is going on is there's still a lot of pinholes and a lot of scratches. And what I'm going to do is I have to flood it out again to get rid of all the pinholes and scratches. And I want, as I blow this off, I'll show you. Now, come on over, take a look. As I blow this off, you can see why I have to flood it again. We have all this stuff going on. I just pulled my wire, but we have this stuff all going on, all these pinholes, and the scratches are quite heavy. It's still a 40 grit. I would never prime fiberglass. Generally, it's quite porous. But right now, I have to mud the whole thing again. I would never come in and just try to do that spot, and I'll tell you why. Because when you sand that spot, you sand the body fill that's around it, and then you end up messing the spot up that you've already done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and flood the whole thing again with the better body fill, that's thinner and smoother. Flood it all again, and I will sand it all off again as one time. And I'm hoping that it gets every pinhole and every scratch the time that I do it. The ones that I do not get, I will get after I prime. I do not do the putty. So I'm using the body fill for the job I want, and that's it. I'm not using the putty. So I've flooded it once, sanded it all off, got pinholes and scratches. Now I'm going to do the second part. And the second part is, actually you can call it the third. I fiberglassed the welds first. I flooded the whole panel and sanded it off. Now I'm going to flood it again and sand it off and get rid of all pinholes and all scratches. I use some cheaper auto body filler to do the labor, I guess, the flooding the first time, and then I'll use a little better filler to flood it the second time. And this is how, I'm going to show you how I do it. The second flood is not to make shape, it's to fill pinholes and scratches and that sort of stuff. And that's where we get mixed up sometimes. That's where that putty comes in. That sometimes you're not getting your body fill straight and you want to straighten it out with the putty. Not there. I'd rather straighten the fill out and use the fill what it should be used for and use the primer for the puttying. So I'm going to skip a step of flooding the panel with putty. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to skip a step and only use body filler. I'm going to skip the putty stage. Now generally what you'll see is you'll see someone come in and flood the whole car in putty. Well no, I'm going to flood it all in fill. Good fill, that is. Thinner fill. Scratches and pinholes is what we're going for. We're not going for shape. Pinholes and scratches is what we're going for. Get it on here, then I can play with it a little bit. Right? And I want to cover it all because I want to sand it all as one complete sand. I do not want to spot your body fill on because you're digging fill that has already been there, and that means that they are different hardnesses, different different strengths, I guess. I should say different strengths, not different hard, different strengths. And I say that because one might be harder than the other, and it makes it harder to fill, to make it all come together. Anyway, got a piece right there, look. Got a piece right there. Where's that piece? Get that out of there. There it is. Yeah. I got a hard piece here, folks, and I can't get rid of it. There it is. If that couldn't get you wound up. Now, I'm just trying to thin this out so I can get it all on there. I don't want nothing but filling scratches. I'm not trying to make shape. Better get out of it. And what I have to do is, I have to run over, make a little bit more to finish the end. I want to flood the whole thing. When I flood the whole thing, it's much easier to sand one surface than spots here and there. What happens is you dig into places that you're not supposed to be digging, and you end up causing yourself havoc. So, to play the smart game is to go in and flood it all and be done with it. Flood it all and be done with it. That's what I've taught myself. And I know that every time going in, that's what I have to do. And the quicker that you realize that's what you have to do, the quicker you will become. I always mix that until all the colors, one color. There should not be a lot of this filler left on after I sand it. It'll just be enough to do pinholes and scratches, as I'm hoping. Pinholes and scratches, that's what I'm going for. Wow, don't like that. It's like baking a cake. And if I put too much on, it does not matter because I'm only going to the ocean floor anyways, and that's where I'll stop. I'd rather have enough on than not enough. I hope that and a little spot there. Looks good. Thin as possible. Got a little mud showing here, a little bit of metal showing there. I might as well give her a touch. Scratches and pinholes, that's all I want. There, that's flooded out. That means the whole thing. And what I'm telling you is, it's better to flood it out than try to come in here and try to get pinholes, because you will mess up your other bodywork. And the reason I know this is because I've done it too many times. So as I flood that, I'm hoping, or not hoping, I will, I'll sand it with this. I will hit it with the 40 grit at first, yes I will, hit it 40 grit. And then I will hit it with an 80 grit. I'll come right towards you, it's okay, you don't have to move. Ow. I usually do it on a feather edger, but I can board file it with an 80 if I want to. You can do anything you want to run it off with an 80 grit to get it so we can prime it. And that's where we'll go. That right there, after I sand it off, should be ready for primer. Just looking for pinholes. And as you see all this fiberglass stuff, really in all honesty, that should be flooded again to take out pinholes. But I'm not seeing a lot, so we'll only go where we see them. I'm not going to work harder than I need. So what I'm telling you is that I flood the panel until I'm happy with the amount of scratches and pinholes, 40 grit then 80 grit, and then I prime it. So this side will be ready to prime after I sand it 40-80, and so will the other side. The other side is done. Also, Jolene and Aiden, they did some wheels. They did Bernie's wheels, and what they did is, I have to turn the light on. What they did is they based them, and what base is the color of the wheel. Bernie said silver, so that's what they have done. All the wheels that we I sandblasted are base silver. I have to thank Aiden and Jolene for that, because they come in here and got it done as I was flooding the other side of the fender skirt. So now it'll be time for us to come in later. We'll put some clear coat on them, and that will give them the shine. That will give the shine. As you can see on the other fender skirt, I've been here this morning, and I did the other side. I flooded it. Fiberglass, body fill, flooded it, sanded it off, and then I flooded it again with the better body fill. And this is what I have. This is what it looks like. It looks like all one piece, sort of. I got a little bit here going on, but it was all one nice smooth piece. I have to 80 grit it, and then I can prime it. I'm going to sand this side one more time, and then the back quarters and the fender skirts are good for primer. And I will not take the fender skirts off, because Jolene loves it so much. When she puts a video up, people ask if the fender skirts are coming off. Well, they are, but I think it's better to leave them on until we prime it, so I can prime it, and instead of hanging them, they're right there. No sense me taking them off and trying to find a place to hang them when they're right there. We'll sand them off, we will prime it, and then we will cut them off at the end. So the people that keep asking the question, the stupider they will look. Right? And that's all up to them, you know, if they want to ask the question without listening to the video, if you know what I'm trying to say. All right, I have to let Jolene go because she has to write an article for herself and tell people, you know, who she is. She's a great person. I want to let you know that. And I'm going to take off the flood and get it ready to prime. That's our Sunday. And then after that, we'll meet in the middle, and then we'll call it a good day. There's nothing better than getting in bed tired because you've worked hard. You feel like you've actually done something, and you feel good about yourself. And I hope tonight, when I get to bed, and Jolene get to bed, we're tired enough that we really feel like we put a good day in.